I just did a whole, like, I guess you'd call it a confessional video where I sat down on this stool that I made for power stairs, and I sat down right here next to my treadmill with the gym in the background. And I was basically just kind of talking about the journey of how I got into working out when I was 14, and then moved on to like how I discovered powerlifting and how that was always a substitute for strongman. Never got a chance to compete in strongman. And then I spent like a year and a half dieting down and basically not training lower body at all, and not focusing on strength for the upper body. I was just trying to get lean and pretty. And I got down to like 84 kilos, 83, 84 kilos, which is like 185 pounds. And I was super lean. I had veins in my lower abs, and serratus is all striated, and I could see all the little fibers, the muscle sinews like twitching and moving when I was doing rows and stuff. Like, I'd never had that body composition of having that much muscle mass, which it's not that it was an insane amount, just that much muscle mass along with being that lean simultaneously. And I was pretty, I had a nice body, whatever, got to wear clothes and look good. But then that was up until January of this year, January 2025. And then I found out about a strongman competition, an OSG strongman competition that's here in Taiwan in October. And it's a big competition. But I had never heard about one ahead of time. Either it was already done, or it was coming up close and all the positions were filled. It's too late to enter. This was the first time I heard about one, and there was time to enter. So while having a completely atrophied lower body and only weighing 83, 84 kilos, hadn't trained for strength in, a year and a half or so, I quickly entered this upcoming competition. And now I've spent this whole year, 2025, slowly, fattening myself up figuratively and literally, strength training in different phases, from just getting the movement patterns back to then building work capacity to then, progressive overload and all this stuff. And how I've made a lot of progress basically in these past 7 months or so. I'm now weighing about 104 kilos, walking around 104 kilos. And deadlift has gone up, it went from like in January I could deadlift 160, 170 maybe for a single rep, and it was bad, to now I can do an extreme deficit deadlift with 220 and still have some in the tank. And I'm like standing on an 8-inch box. I went from squatting only 120 kilos to now I can squat over 200 kilos. And I'm not really testing my bench, but I went from barely, like a competition grip width, which is for me either my pinky or my ring finger on the ring of the bar, barely squeezing out 140 in January. Because my upper body wasn't as bad, I continued training that even though it wasn't for strength, to now I can do a narrow grip, like my fingers up against the smooth part of the bar. I can do a narrow grip, pause, after doing overhead press, after doing log work, after pre-exhausting my shoulders, I can still go over and do a narrow grip with a long pause and do like 150 kilos. So I've gotten stronger, but I've still got a couple months till the competition. And the main point of that confessional video was me basically admitting, being honest, that I'm being, how do I say it in a genuine way that doesn't sound cliche or stupid? I'm very tempted to take steroids. If you've never seen my videos before, or maybe if you didn't know this about me, I have taken steroids before. When I was younger, when I was into powerlifting, it was such a commonplace thing that it was just like, yeah, this is just part of it. I was never one of these guys that took these insanely toxic levels of crazy shit. My go-to preferable method was 400 milligrams of cypionate per week. And then if I had a hard plateau I was trying to get to, I might bump it up to 800 for a little bit, for a few weeks, and I'd drop it back down to 400. But although I knew a lot about training over the years, and I learned a lot about training through studying and researching, and then also trying things out, And I was fortunate enough, just right place, right time, very fortunate. I have personally known and trained with so many like world class and world champion lifters, whether they're power lifters or CrossFit guys or bodybuilders or whatever else. So I picked up things from them, even just mentality as far as training. But when you're on drugs, it allows you to mask bad decisions, right? You can get away with more. There's a lot more room for error, and it's hard to identify where you've really messed up. So I feel like I've learned a lot more about training in the past however many years since I've stopped taking the drugs, just because it forced me to really confront where the limits really are, what kind of stuff is expendable and what's not. You know, how absolutely vital and non-negotiable things like sleep and proper nutrition are. And not that you have to follow a special diet, but like calories are calories, period. Protein is a priority, period. Carbohydrates, muscle glycogen, end of story, period, right? Sleep for recovery, end of story. Volume, how do you get enough without overdoing it? You know, frequency, things like that. So I haven't taken anything in years, and I was able to get super lean and pretty, totally drug-free, just using what I know works from experience. And now all of a sudden I've signed up for this strongman competition because it's what I always wanted to do. But I have 10 months to go from an atrophied lower body from not training it and weighing 185 pounds, like 84 kilos, to competing in an international world qualifier, like OSG strongman competition. And it's my first ever. I'm competing against seasoned guys who have been doing it for years and know their shit and have not taken breaks from the gym and are familiar with the implements and want to go to worlds. And I've never done strongman. And I'm coming off of not strength training and being small and atrophied and lean and drug-free as well. So it's a lot to overcome, but what I was getting at in the video, I guess what I'm summarizing here is that I felt confident about my ability to not win, but like, because again, there's going to be some serious competitors there, but to at least hang, to not make a fool of myself, right? I've been confident about my ability to progress and get to a competitive point by October, up until recently. Recently, I guess just with the competition getting closer and things, you know, getting more serious, suddenly I found myself very tempted to start taking drugs again, to start at least pinning some testosterone. I mean, it's probably self-explanatory. The reason why that's alluring, the reason why I'm suddenly feeling like, you know, oh my God, I'm running out of time. There's not enough time and I'm not where I need to be yet. And I could just do this, that. You know, if I could keep up my perfect sleep and my eating and my training that's already so good and effective, but I could turn it up to 11 if I just added a little testosterone to it, all right? So I'm not going to do that. And that's part of the reason why I'm making the video right now, is holding myself accountable that I'm not going to do that for a lot of reasons. But I think as I'm getting older, the primary reason, at least in this case especially, is that one, I honestly really do believe, yes, steroids are effective, no shit, right? Common sense, but they're not necessary. They're not absolutely required. You really can do insane things with the human body, completely drug-free, if you simply make the right decisions and you're consistent and you understand that there's less room for error, right? And of course, how successful you are also depends on how high you're setting your sights. But I really do believe that you can compete at a very high level and have a very good physique and be very strong and all these things, totally drug-free. I've experienced it for the past few years firsthand, whether it's being strong or being lean or whatever. It's just, you know, as the clock is ticking down and I'm understanding how many literal eyes are going to be on me, how many cameras are going to be there, how this is going to be replayed in YouTube videos, and it's going to be in record books as far as like who was there and what they did. This idea that I'm stacking the cards too high against myself. There are too many things to overcome. There's too much of a learning curve, and then I'm going to completely humiliate myself. I think that's what's making me want to, you know, have a little extra insurance. But then I pull back from that and I realize that, you know, it's not just about me. It's also about my kids. My son, I've been training him this year, and he loves the gym now. He looks forward to it. He gets excited. He's been hitting PRs of his own. And we've had these conversations about different types of lifting and different lifters and drugs versus natty and all that stuff. And I really try to instill in him that drugs aren't necessary. Part of the reason why I started taking drugs years ago was because they were commonplace. Everybody was doing them. It was like this very common sense thing of like, yeah, when you're not a hardcore meathead and you're not in that world, they always seem like this secretive thing that only a few, you know, guys are doing. It's this source of mystery. And then you get serious enough about lifting and you get involved enough and you meet enough people that suddenly one day you realize that, oh shit, everybody's doing this. This is just like taking creatine. Like, it's actually more unusual to meet somebody who doesn't do it. It's just what they do, right? Everybody's on drugs, whether they compete or not. And so to me, it just seemed normal. It's the next step, right? So I started taking testosterone when I was younger. And I want to instill in him that was misguided and not necessary. And as long as he's doing the right things and making good decisions and he's patient and he's consistent, he can achieve whatever results he wants, you know, within reason, without any of that stuff. And I don't know how I would explain to him, because I never lie to him. So I don't know how I would possibly explain to him that for him, drugs aren't necessary. And for him, he shouldn't consider that stuff. And for him, this is how it is. But I'm special and I'm different. And this is why I decided to take drugs for this competition coming up, right? So as a point of not just proving it to myself, because I want to have that baseline. I want to prove to myself that I can do certain things and I can accomplish goals, all this stuff, right? I want that baseline of knowing that even when I had taken a break from strength training, even when my lower body was totally atrophied, even when I had never done a strongman competition before and I was having to learn the implements from scratch, and I wasn't able to follow some special diet because I consider my family more than my special needs, and I was working a full-time job, and I was drug-free, I was still able to accomplish whatever I accomplish. To me, that's important. I like stories. I like narrative aspects of things. And to me, it's important that I can look back and have that narrative aspect of like, that was my baseline. That's what I was able to do with limited time, limited resources, mid-30s, drug-free, never done it before. I was still able to accomplish this. And I'm not gonna fuck that up, but I'm okay with not winning. I'm a realist. I understand I'm at a disadvantage here and I'm not gonna win. I just wanna have fun and I wanna experience it. But even though I just wanna have fun and my main goal is the experience and the memory and meeting people, and that's honestly, that's just what I care about. I wanna have the experience, I wanna have fun. it's something I always wanted to do since I was 7 years old. I do have like a fear of failure in the sense that I don't want to humiliate myself. I don't want to become the instant replay, the example of somebody who just completely shit the fucking bed and was a great example of what not to do, right? So I'm getting a little nervous. I just want to I want everything to go okay. But the competition is now currently July, about halfway through July. Competition is near the end of October, so I've got a few months left. Training is still going solid. I'm still making progress. I've gone ahead and made myself some extra implements. I've got Atlas stones downstairs. Get this. Got Atlas stones downstairs. I hand sew and made myself a big, heavy, like 300-pound sandbag. I've got this, like, metal step. It's like for training power stairs. I set it to the regulation height of the stairs where they typically are. And that's the minimum height. And if I think they're gonna be taller, then I can stack it on top of some gym mats or wood or whatever. And I've got, where is it? This handle here. This is a little, something I welded up right here. Little handle for loading the plates for power stairs, because that's going to be one of the events in the competition is power stairs. So I made some implements to train that. This is a belt squat attachment for my squat rack. It doesn't matter, but Atlas stones will be in the event, or in the competition they'll have Atlas stones, so I've got that downstairs. I built myself this log press right here. This log bar, I mean, because log press will be one of the lifts. This is I overbuild everything, and this one is a great example of that. For reference, most log bars, like pro log bars that are 12-inch, will have a 3mm wall thickness, and a lot of the tubing will be hollow. And the bar ends up weighing about 60 kilos, 59, 61, somewhere in there. This is a 12-inch bar, but it's the tube itself is 6mm thick. It's a 1/4 inch thick. All the bars are solid metal, solid steel. And because of that, this unloaded bar by itself weighed like 78 kilos. I put it on the scale. And now that I've added all the wrap and the paint and the rubber bumper, like stoppers for the plates to hit against, all the hardware attached, it now weighs about 80 kilos empty. So practicing with that. And then one of the competition lifts will also be the Anderson squat. Don't know what the height's gonna be yet. Don't know if we're using a bar or a frame or what, but I've been practicing that a lot. Making progress, doing good. But this is my update. I'm currently weighing 104 kilos, walking around. That's my walk around weight. I have continued to get stronger, fatter, but stronger. I'm still making progress, and I'm just hoping that I don't completely embarrass myself in October. But anyway. Also, most of my training footage has been shorts, not full-length videos. So if you haven't seen me training lately and you're wondering where that footage is, it's on my Instagram, or you can look at my channel and check the shorts that I've uploaded. But anyway, here's to hoping that I do okay. But anyway, thanks for watching. Till next time, I'll talk to you later. Bye.